In this recording, we will demonstrate the latest functionality for site capture classification. It is called the Accelerated Classification Engine, or ACE. This is release 5.4 that was released on May 4th, 2015. The first step is where we'll select our document type and we'll begin by importing our images. In production, you would be likely driving a scanner. That could either be a direct connect scanner, a network scanner, a copier that scans to a network, or even a fax server. Now that we've scanned in our 11 pages, which will comprise 10 invoices, meaning one of these is 2 pages long, the next step in the process is to classify the documents. The classification process begins with optical character recognition, or OCR, to make the documents intelligent. From there, we will run a complex set of rules to determine the different vendor names. You could run this on a desktop, as I am, or this could be running on a server. At this point, the user will be alerted that one of the documents could not be classified. Of the 9 invoices we have, one of them has never been seen by the software. A user would select that image, you can see the image here with the caution symbol on the left, and they would build the rule set. Please note, this would be a knowledge worker, not an IT professional. So someone in the accounting department would select the gear ball here to open up the rule builder. They would type in the vendor name, you'll see I added the entire name, as this will be mapped out to the field within the document management repository as vendor name. Now we'll build our first rule. We like to use a fax number or maybe the company name. At this point we're building 2 rules, so now we have to see if we find either of these. We know this is a vendor from Total Filtration Services. It's important to have 2 rules, as if someone would use a dark colored highlighter over the fax number, or perhaps that was stapled and the staple, when removed, took out part of the number, we would default back to the other index value, which would be the vendor name. You can see here, let's look at the fax number, we've allowed for OCR error due to image quality. For example, the last 4 digits of the fax number is 9316. If you look at the rule, it says we're looking for a 9, 3, and a 1, which could be an I, an L, a pipe, or an exclamation point, followed by a 6. We now have the first page defined and the vendor name. Sometimes these invoices may come in as multiple pages, so let's take a moment and build the last page rule as well. So what we're telling our software now is if you find total or amount subject to within the footer of the document, we know that's the last page. So we've now defined the vendor name, the starting page, and the final page. The next step would be to define how to locate invoice number, invoice date, PO number, and total amount. Those are the index values we're looking for. You can either build your template here from scratch, or you can copy an existing template. We're going to copy one. You can see here we are selecting invoice number for a field, and it's showing us our zone here highlighted, but there's no invoice number there. All we have to do is drag that to the proper location. This one is invoice date. We'll drag that. They can overlap, no problem. PO number needs to move up a little bit, and it looks like we got lucky for the total amount, but for demonstration purposes, we'll change the shape of the zone. You can test these zones by double-clicking on the zone itself, and it will bring up the rule builder. This is known as a smart zone. So within this smart zone, we're locating the words invoice number. This is the rule or regular expression for invoice number. And then we're finding the value to the right. We'll zoom in on that. If this would say something different, maybe this says invoice NO dot or INV number sign, you can easily rebuild that rule by just dragging your mouse across. It of course rebuilt the same rule because we found the same value. If the zone itself needs to be moved, the child zone, which is this pink area here. You can change the shape of that or move it around, no problem, and test the OCR value. Now the worker can save their new rule, and the software says, hey, we found a new rule. Do you want us to rerun that? Absolutely. Now that I've saved my batch, if another knowledge worker happened to scan the same invoice, they would have access to the updated rule set. We're updating the master rules within a capture environment. Indexing is happening at this point, and now we're prompting the user for quality assurance. We're asking you to check, does the index information on the left match the image on the right? If you click on a value on the left, perhaps a PO number, it will zoom in and show you where it found the information. The data on the left is live, and if you would like to change it, you can. The next step of the knowledge worker is that they would hit the Done button, it would OCR this value and place it into the document repository and potentially build a load file for their ERP system. It was as simple as that to update your configuration mid-batch. We did not have to call someone from IT. We did not have to learn what a regular expression is and how to build one. If we rerun the same batch, you'll note that we will not fail on that TFS or total filtration invoice. We're now OCRing the documents. In a moment, you'll see the rule engine list off all the rules, but there will not be a failure. And we are now moving into indexing. All of this could be happening as a service on a server. And the first time the user would see the images would be the optional quality assurance stage here. Now they can double check the work. If they are using purchase order numbers, as you see listed here, we could take the total amount or subtotal, if we would have captured that value, and compared it to the value within their PO database. We would basically do a database lookup to SQL, Oracle, DB2, as well as others. If the dollar amounts don't match, we would prompt the user for quality assurance. This concludes our demonstration. We hope you found this informative. If you would like to know more, please contact us at sales@PSIGEN.com or 949-916-7700. Thank you. Have a great day.